This will be a nice little bit for the extraction fan. Doing a little Raspberry Pi changeover. Got the new Raspberry Pi. It's got 4 gig of RAM rather than just 2 gig of RAM. And I'm hoping all I'll have to do is simply pull out the memory card from the other one, change the plugs over, and everything should work just fine. I'll have to adjust some network stuff. But other than that, everything should be just fine.
Long story short here, there's a slight problem with the micro SD card slot on the Raspberry Pi, so after changing over everything from the old Pi to the new Pi, I had to then change everything back over from the new Pi to the old Pi, just so that everything works fine. I am yet to use the new Pi.
Put a package around. Light bulb. This thing's been in damn near perfect condition until now. Look at that. What an annoying little mistake. Dang. Power supply that's going to go into a wall and never seen again. But it gives me the control that I want. This USB-C cable is controlled entirely through this cable. So we've got our positive, negative 5 volts, and then we've got our USB-C's positive, negative 5 volts. Also, I've been liking having this extraction fan. And I had these LEDs sitting around for quite a while. I just want to see... Oh, look at that. Like a glove. Now I just need to make it so that it maybe sits up like this or something, and so it won't be in the way, because there's a big shadow it's casting, so I can't see some... Well, I can. But it's just darker underneath it, and I'd rather have more light than less. So the sensor that's on my back door lock is just one of those simple door open and close sensors that I have pulled apart and changed out the sensor for a little momentary switch. The problem with it is it's a Wi-Fi model and communicates with an AWS server, I don't know, Australia, China. Who knows where that data is going? Who knows where it's really coming from? But the thing is that data is leaving the house for an unnecessary reason. There's no real reason for that data to leave the house. And on top of that, it's also a battery powered device, which means batteries need to be changed. And I don't like having to change batteries on things, especially things that are built into the wall like this one is. Thus making this circuit, which should hopefully solve it all. This will power that sensor, and it will also power a phone which is attached to the wall. I'm just lucky it's right next to a light switch. Now you might think, why not just have a little breakout board, something next to it or on top of it to help connect everything up? Well, what I'm doing is I'm using the transistor pin that I'm going to leave long until I've finished with it, and that is what will be making those connections, which means I don't need to have a second board or anything. This is also a super simple circuit. There's no reason to have more than what you need. It's just a waste of resources then. Right, let's see. Let's bring in Captain Doggalo. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to change out a light switch that I have. Currently, it is relying on the Tuya smart home system. If you're familiar with it, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not familiar with it, it's a Chinese company that controls a whole lot of smart home stuff. And I'm slowly, over time, converting over to everything running on ZigBee, which means all of the data from my lights and all the sensors and stuff stay on my network and they never leave the house. I know there is a local Tuya setup and stuff where you can force everything to work locally and all that, but I don't want to muck around with that. Nor do I really care about that. I specifically want to use ZigBee and run things locally like that. Now, don't do this at all. If you need to change out something like this, it is running on high power. It will kill you. You make a mistake, you can die. Got the new switch in. As you can somewhat tell, it is working just fine. And that's done. Very quick and easy. Don't copy me.
Here we're installing that little power supply I put together, as well as the new sensors for the back door. I'm drilling a hole through from the door frame to where the light switch is in order to send power through, as well as to put in that little phone charger. I then spent some time running the cables through the wall to get to the two lock positions. Spending some time to make sure everything is well calibrated and well working. It took a little longer for the door open and close sensor than I had expected, but that's okay because it looks like everything is done and working now.
And just like that, I'm back where I started. because I didn't really add or change too much. The key point of that process was eliminating the need for batteries, because there was batteries for the lock sensors and then there was batteries for the door close sensors, and also because I added that little Android phone there, which just has a couple stats, so I'll eventually update it and put some actual useful stuff on it eventually. Essentially just some tidying up of some things. Still feels like I didn't achieve much because I'm technically in the same place as I was before. I just don't have to change batteries anymore, which is good. I don't think there's anything else useful on this board. None of these seem to do their exact job. I'm not even sure what they do. Actually, these might be mildly useful. I'll see if they're willing to just fall off. The smell has not left this room. And I've had this fan on, this window open, that vent on, and the front door open.
Long story short, I'd left the heat gun on the circuit board for far too long. It ended up filling the room with smoke, and the smoke has embedded itself in everything in the room. It's taken approximately a week and a half just to get the smell out and bearable in here.
This is the outro. I haven't done any editing or anything yet, but I've decided that this video, the one that you're watching, is coming to an end. How do I decide the length and stuff and the content of these videos? Purely by feel. Once I feel like I've been recording enough, I then sort of mentally, oh, okay, that's done. And then I just dump all the footage into a folder and start a new folder, which is why my videos don't have any like intros and outros. They just sort of start, sometimes partway through a project, because that's also, I kind of forget that I'm halfway through a project with one thing and not the other. Anyway, this is the outro. Goodbye. I mean, thank you for watching.